Hey, guys. I think I'm live. The YouTube machine is telling me that I'm live. Can you hear me okay? Global sports card investor. Looks like you commented 25 minutes ago. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I thought I would just jump on here for a few minutes. I know there's a lot of sports card live streams on Friday nights, so I know there's a lot of options. I was just gonna jump on for a little bit, say hey, and then I'll jump off. I'm not gonna do a 5-hour live stream like Sports Cards Anonymous and Carlos. Hey, Mark, how's it going? I will be watching the playoffs this weekend. I'm excited. I'm excited for playoff football this weekend. Who are you pulling for? Who are you watching? I'm curious to see just kind of how it goes. I mean, it's kind of up in the air. It doesn't feel like there's one dominant team in the AFC or in the NFC. So I'm looking forward to just checking it out. But let me know who you're planning on watching and who you're going for. All right. How's it going, West Texas Wax? Good to see you. Hoff Van Dam, afternoon. Afternoon, mate. Are you in Australia or in New Zealand? Good to see you guys. Like I said, I know there's a lot of Friday night sports card stream options. So I was planning on just kind of coming on for a few minutes and then just, hanging out, and then I'll probably jump off. But I just wanted to say, hey, actually, I just spent a little over an hour in the hot tub. So I am that's why my hair is kind of crazy. It's snowing outside. So anytime it's snowing, got to take advantage of the hot tub situation. Hey, Ed, good to see you. All right, New Zealand. That's very, very cool. On the other side of the world. Unbelievable. Technology these days. Yes, rest in peace, Meatloaf. And then I can't remember the guy's name. There was a famous comedian also that passed away as well today or the day before. That was really, really funny. And I'm drawing a blank on his name. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Guys, I have a video dropping tomorrow morning in response to all of the bad news. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's going to drop. I expect it'll probably drop at about 7:15 in the morning, so you'll wake up to it. But hope that you enjoy that. I'm not going to give any sort of spoilers or anything, but I just put it together about 20 minutes ago. Oh, that's right, Louis Anderson. That's him. Yeah, that stinks. The PSA mess is a hot topic. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's weird. It's wild. And I guess kind of the concern is just that how deep down the rabbit hole does it go? How many other situations are there out there like this? Anytime you have something like that, it causes everybody to kind of pause. It's like, well, what's my group submitter doing? Should I be using a group submitter? Should I not? I got a lot of comments on my video today that was like, why use a group submitter? And look, I mean, I think there's probably pros and cons to using a group submitter. If you have a good relationship with that person, then you have a relationship with them. Maybe they're getting you a better price. Maybe they're getting you a faster turnaround, whatever the case may be. Maybe they offer you community, through a Facebook group or through, just other hobbyists, other hobby friends. Maybe all of you guys use the same subber. I think there's a lot of moving parts to that. On its face, I can understand of like, oh, don't be lazy, just go straight to the grading company, but it's not quite that simple. There's shades of gray with it. 50 shades of gray, as they say, right? Chiefs. Oh yeah. Mahomes 86. I'm really shocked that you said Chiefs. Oh, thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've had a little bit of a snowstorm coming through here, it's actually been nice. It's not anything dangerous. In North Carolina, though, we're not north enough to where we're really prepared for snow. So anytime there is snow and ice, it shuts down everything. So schools shut down and, nobody's driving. It's not like being in New England or something where they have, the resources to deal with it. But, but it's fine. Yeah, it's all good. All good. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. And actually, my wife is just getting over the sickness, if you will, our friend, the bug, but she's doing fine. She's doing fine. Tell me more about this, Dr. Monopoly. What's your thought on PWCC and their recent updates? Tell me about what you mean by that, the recent updates, because I might have actually missed it. Let me know. That's really cool. Going to my first card show in like 25-ish years on Sunday. That's fantastic. I will tell you that there's something nostalgic about going to card shows for me. I still get kind of like giddy, the morning of going to a card show, and I'm 40 years old. But just because it does bring you back to, I remember being, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and going to a card show as a kid. Your parents have to go out of their way to bring you. It was a really big deal to go and do that. So that's really cool. It will kind of probably have the same sort of effect. It's weird how hours and hours can pass at a card show where you're just looking at cards. And yeah, it's odd. It's odd how you can just spend time like that. Your feet hurt, you're walking around and it doesn't even phase you. So congrats. That's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, hey, Brandon, good to see you, man. Yeah, thanks for catching this. This is just kind of like, threw it together a few hours ago. Thought I would come on and just say hey to everybody as we head into the weekend. 72 in Phoenix, man. You know what, Brian, though? I lived in Florida for 25 plus years, and it was kind of similar to where it was always kind of, warmer. But for me, I mean, I'm pretty fair skinned, so I get sunburnt like the second I walk out of the house. So I kind of like having the seasons. Florida is nice, but it's like summertime 9 months out of the year, and it's like, I'm good. I kind of like North Carolina where, it's like right now it's 30 degrees outside, it's snowing, but it's still not like brutal winds and blizzards. It's not Minnesota where it gets down to zero. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where were you stationed? My dad actually was in the Air Force. He retired stationed at Langley Air Force Base. He lived in Hampton, Virginia. So I'm curious if you were in the Air Force branch or another part. Oh, okay. Yeah, they added a 20% buyer's premium on all their auctions. Yeah, and they knocked it down to okay. I didn't realize that they weren't doing the monthly. I thought they were doing both, like a monthly and then also a weekly or something. And now it looks like you're saying that everything is 10-day, which is interesting. Yeah, that's such an odd thing. PWCC is some people love PWCC and others do not. I think it's kind of interesting though because you have the hobby is fragmented right now. I gave a shout out to Hobby Exchange website. What's their site? Let me just go back to it. Hobby.exchange. It's still in beta, but I made a video on this maybe a week ago and gives you, so it basically covers, it allows you to search cards across alt, ComC, eBay, MySlabs, and PWCC. So it's saving a lot of time. That's Hobby.exchange, saving a lot of time for those that are, you're searching on eBay. You might find it, you might not, but this is a way for you to search across 5, 6 different sites and find stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. And they're still trying to, they're still, tinkering with it. It's in beta. It's site's in beta, but it's free. So I would just say that's for me, that's become more and more of a resource that I'm using because, you never know where the best deal is. So that site kind of helps you to do that. Yeah, and actually, it's funny because I thought Dakota was going on at 9, Sports Cards Anonymous. So I was like, oh, I didn't mean to cross over on you like that. And then he invited me on to go on to his stream as well. I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to do all of that tonight, but we'll see. Maybe I'll end up on Dakota's stream as well. I've been going back and forth with him about football cards. Him and I are going after kind of the 90s inserts. This is one that I just recently picked up, and I'm just learning more and more about these, but this is Boss Hog from Absolute 1999. It's signed by Barry Sanders, as you can see. I believe this is it, and it's also a genuine leather football that is attached to the card, signed by Barry. The signature comes off the card a little bit, which kind of stinks, but these are crazy scarce from those packs. I think it's like 1 out of 360 packs, and then you've got 10 cards on the checklist. So odds are you just don't pull these. I got one of these, and then I also got a Peyton Manning that's actually, it's not in very good shape, the Peyton Manning card, but they're just not out there. You just don't, they're very difficult to find. So I don't know. I've been going after kind of, there's a lot of talk about 90s basketball inserts, and I'm more of a football card collector. So I've been looking at okay, how does this translate over to the sport and the sports cards that I really kind of like to collect? And so kind of an interesting little rabbit hole that him and I have been going down. So maybe I'll go on there and talk a little bit with him about that, but we'll see. We will see. Card shows at the mall. I agree. I remember that. Yeah, exactly. There was always babes at the mall. I know. I was like, the 10-year-old always trying to find babes and also looking at cards. There's also a lot of sports memorabilia back then too, where it was like, I remember they had all like the actors, the 8x10 signed by different actors or whatever. It was interesting. But yeah, all the shopping malls, what's that, right? They don't exist anymore. It's all Amazon now. But yeah, the card shows at the mall. Absolutely. So my plan was to hold off, Ed, and then ended up not doing that. Go figure. So I have been buying. I showed the Barry Sanders. I also picked up. I have a Staubach of this card. This is the 2001 Pros and Prospects set from Upper Deck, and this is a game used jersey for Fran Tarkenton, and then also the on card auto. I believe this is numbered, or maybe it's not numbered. But either way, these are pretty scarce. Even though this is not a numbered card, I like the set. I've got a Staubach that's graded, and I've been going after kind of the legends of the NFL, because if you look from a price perspective, it's silly, how much more a lot of the basketball legends are, and so I think football is just kind of a fun, kind of alternative to to the basketball stuff. Here's another example of. This is a Playmakers Theater from 2012 Fleer Retro, Joe Namath. The knock on these, of course, is that they're in their college unis, so it's not Namath in a Jets uniform, but this is a very rare insert from that 2012 retro Fleer Retro set, and it's got PMGs in it. I've got some of those as well. They're all numbered. This is numbered to 100. Just cool inserts of legends, so that's what I've been looking at. It's kind of one of those pockets. People aren't necessarily paying attention to it. What is this one called? Let me see. Yeah, this is a really interesting one. So I believe, is this 97 or 98? This is a metal. Insert, and it's called Decided Edge. And again, like one out of like 400 packs or something. Just a unique looking card. It's got Elway's face on the back, but it kind of falls in the same vein as like a Platinum Portraits. You just don't see these. I picked up a few of these off of ComC, and then I got this one off of eBay. But again, like they're inexpensive in comparison to what you're seeing on the basketball and the baseball side. So that's kind of what I've been digging into a little bit lately, dabbling in some other stuff. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I did commit to buying a Namath Flawless patch auto off of Flippin' Steve. It's funny because and he posted it on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do so. It's the Personal Finance Dad on Instagram. I post cards on there and just different stuff. But Flipping Steve on Instagram, he posted the Flawless Namath that I ended up buying from him. He bought that at the Raleigh card show that he was at with me. And I actually saw the card. I passed on it, and he saw it. We weren't together, and he bought it. So now I'm buying it off of him for about $20 more than what he bought it for. He's kind of breaking even on it just to get some liquidity. And it was a card that I wanted. Great listening to Dr. Peggott the other day, and he was spot on with the 80s. Basketball Star Company was in those early guides and expensive compared to Fleer and Hoops. Yeah. It's always fun to talk with him. He's got so much information. He's got so much experience, knowledge, wisdom. So it is good to catch up with him every now and again. I had him on my show maybe almost maybe like 8-9 months ago, before the other night on Off Centered. And he's a cool guy, and he's a legend. He's a hobby legend. Hello, South Stands 303. Good to see you. The last card show I remember was when the Cal Ripken, the error they were selling. Yeah, I know. It's funny, the stuff that was selling for big money back then, and then it's like a lot of it's worthless now. A lot of those Jose Canseco rookie cards, all the 89 score football that I used to chase after, that was stuff that was very expensive raw even back then, and then now is not so much raw. Yeah, pyramids of them in their cases. Didn't take a rocket scientist to know not to buy one. That's also the Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Norfolk was right where we were. Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, right in that same area. Virginia Beach. Yikes, 9 degrees in Missouri. Good Lord. Whew. Yeah, 20% buyer's premium, man. That just seems like a heck of a lot. I don't know. I think somebody's going to come in and disrupt that market. Someone's going to come in with, all the exposure. They're going to undercut everybody and they're going to take it all. I just feel like eventually that'll happen. It might be a while. It might be a long time, but it's ripe. It's ripe for that stuff. Yeah, I know. I didn't realize. Apologies. I thought that Dakota was going on at 9. So I thought that he was actually competing with Carlos of the Because I'm Carlos YouTube channel. And nope, I set it up to be competing with him. I did not mean to do it like that. Oh, well. What's Dakota talking about over there? He's probably talking about margaritas and army stories, right? A Jordan PMG PSA pop 4 no higher at okay. Trying to figure out if I should sell it. Is it from the 2012 retro or is it like is it a 90s Jordan PMG in the Bulls uniform? Yeah, those the Bulls ones. I mean, the UNC ones are really cool too. My wife went to UNC Chapel Hill, so I actually would rather have. It sounds weird, but I would like to get some of the Jordan stuff in the UNC unis, just because we're local to it, and my wife went there. So I have kind of a weird take on that. I like the UNC stuff for Jordan. But is yours the UNC, that 2012, 13, 11, stuff, PMG stuff, or is it 90s stuff? I mean, the hobby has all went out the window the first month in 2022 with all the drama. Yeah, in some ways. It probably depends on what cards you have. In the same way, the crypto market's kind of doing the same thing where crypto, I don't know if anyone also buys and sells cryptocurrency, but that's also kind of, moving downward. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in that space. If I want to be, it's like, do I want to be buying right now? Do I want to wait longer? I'm struggling with that because I do have some holdings, nothing, crazy, but I have some positions and some of the, I guess, kind of the tokens, the platforms that I believe in, that I think they're going to have future utility. I've got some of that, and it's kind of like, with the sports cards, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I showed you kind of like the the inserts that are more on the rare side. This is from that. This is kind of covered up by a number, but this is one of those 2012 retro blue PMGs. It's numbered out of 50, and this is Joe Theismann. So again, kind of a now Theismann's not necessarily a legend, and he's in his college uni, but it is kind of cool because like the 90s PMG cards didn't have any of the, the Staubachs and the Namaths and all that stuff. So yes, they're in their college unis, but they didn't have, like, in the 90s PMGs are all the active players from the time. And there's a lot of players that had very short careers, so it's kind of like, meh. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, yeah, 90s B-ball. Charles, how you doing? Are you selling all your Marvel PMGs, Charles, now that they're all 6 figures or whatever? All that stuff is going bonkers. Charles was buying that stuff way before it was cool. He was way ahead of that game. Imagine they had the WWE stars, and back then we could have looked at the Babe cards and in real life at the same time. Absolutely. In the mall, I remember going to, what was it, like the Spencer Gifts, and they had like the posters in the back, and they had like Pamela Anderson and Tiffany Amber Thiessen Saved by the Bell posters. That was where, when I was a kid, I was hanging out in the back of the Spencer Gifts. Who was it? Kathy Ireland, Sports Illustrated. Met Barry Sanders' dad in a golf tournament in 98, a local course. Yeah. Barry Sanders. What was funny is Barry Sanders' dad was so hard on him. He used to always say Jim Brown was the best running back of all time. So I think Barry kind of had a chip on his shoulder, being like, more of a quiet, humble guy. And then eventually I think his dad did give him some props, but his dad was definitely a Jim Brown guy. I did not see that Rattle Pokemon video. When did that one come out? Is that a new one or an old one, Suitcase Murphy? Thank you, Lord Pokeball. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's a really, really good point. Loco card collector, you kind of nailed it. There's a lot of I don't want to say, and I think I've said it in videos before, if you have decades in the hobby, it gives you the ability to speak about, various cards that you're into, but a lot of times it's siloed. You might have a longtime hobbyist that collects mainly basketball cards, or a longtime hobbyist that's always collected just vintage and not modern, or, pre-war baseball. It's not very easy to find someone that's been in the hobby for a long time that's got a mix of all that stuff. And then also, exactly like what Dr. Beckett had said, is, yeah, you've had some ups and downs in this market, but not like this, though. These are unprecedented times. You can look at 2016. There was a little kind of, blip for vintage cards. It was, speculation that was some market manipulation going on in 2016. But I mean, for the most part, sports cards have been fairly flat, if you're looking at them over a long period of time. I'm going to address that in tomorrow morning's video, though. So make sure you tune in. I'll probably drop it about 7:15, 7:30 tomorrow morning. Get your weekend going. A little bit more high energy than usual. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing crazy. No need to take a step back from buying. There's always great buying opportunities. And I agree with that. I agree with that, especially as the market takes a turn down and some people need to liquidate a little. That's a really excellent point, Brian. I mean, everyone's got their own journey. Everyone's got their own life stuff going on. Someone might have lost their job, someone, unfortunately, but look, these are, assets. These can be moved to pay the bills. For some people, they might need to move off of some things, or also could be longtime collectors that are just ready to cash out. Maybe they bought it 10 years ago and they're like, you know what? The market's kind of been turning a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and sell off some of this stuff that I don't really care about as much, but I bought it when it was $5 and now it's still $100 or whatever. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Griffey to Best, how's it going? How's it going? Cold here in Michigan, man. Oh yeah, Michigan is a cold place. Yeah, 2012 retro. If you have the UNC Jordan, man. I want that card. How much are you asking for it? I love that UNC 2012 retro Jordan stuff. It's all very expensive, but yeah, I love that stuff. I actually just like that 2012 retro in general because it gives another option, and that's what I've been buying on the football side, because the basketball side is very, very expensive. And then the football stuff from the 90s is very expensive too, the original PMGs, and I'm not going to pay $500 for a Cedric Benson, red PMG. I'm just not, like a player that had a 2-year career and fizzled. I want stuff that I like, not just, oh, this is a PMG. It's a part of an expensive set. Nah, I don't want to do. I'd rather buy something else. Hey, what's going on? Phoenix Rising 2430. Good to see you. UNC stuff. I dig it. I dig it. Well, and that's kind of my thing, John, is I'm trying to figure out, we always talk about it's always the thing, buy low, sell high. Crypto's taking a dive. Stock market, if the stock market takes a dive or whatever, real estate, whatever it is, you're always trying to figure out when to get in. Does it still have room to go down? And nobody knows that. Nobody knows what the bottom looks like. Is this the start of a recession? Or is this literally just a blip on the radar that's lasts for a weekend and then it goes back up? That's the stuff that we don't know. I guess that's what makes it fun. But for me personally, it's like, okay, where do I put my chips? Where? And I think that's for all of us. For all of us, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. Well, that's loyalty, Ryan. That is loyalty. Splitting hairs. Splitting hairs. Dakota's really entertaining. I like watching his stuff too. So I know I kind of this is his usual Friday night, and I'm just kind of jumping in here and kind of ruining it. I know I don't usually do it on Friday, so it's my bad. Imagine how many high-end cards in your PC vault and dying something without anyone in your family knowing about your remote vault. PWC. Well, I think that by law, those assets, and again, like I'm not an estate planning attorney, but I think technically it's part of your estate, so eventually your family, whoever the family is going to find it, or they have to report it. They would have to, something would have to happen there. I don't think it's, they just, ooh, cool. We get to keep all these. I don't think it works like that. Hold until summer with crypto. Yeah. Well, and that's what I've heard some people say that. I've heard all sorts of different things. Yeah, the one thing I'm trying to figure out, crypto cards and stock market. So here's the tricky thing. The thing I noticed is that, the Fed was talking about interest rates going up recently. They talked about that, this week, last week? They talked about it recently, and there was a reaction off of that news. The thing, though, that I'm really kind of interested in seeing what happens is they have said, hey, we plan to raise interest rates 3 times in 2022 to curb inflation. Here's the problem, though, with that is that we have a massive amount of national debt. So we raise the interest rates. We're also raising the rates on our own debt that we owe to China and others, and we can't afford to pay it back. So it's kind of like a weird scenario where, are they really going to raise interest rates 3 times? And then how much are they going to raise them? Because frankly, they can't. I mean, in my opinion, unless I'm missing something, they can't just raise rates in a crazy way. They can't push them up because of our own debt here in this country. So that's an interesting dynamic. So I kind of wonder if they're going to try to appease both sides, where it's like, oh, we're raising rates a tad. We said we were going to do that. And then inflation, drops a little bit, and see, we did something, but in the end, they're not able to do it because of our outstanding debts. I don't know if you have thoughts on that. Throw it in the comments, throw it in the chat. But that's kind of what, it's just a thought. It's a thought that I've been having. Gold over Bitcoin. I know you're a gold guy, Brian. Suns, Bucks, and gold for Brian. Wait till tax season is over. Oh, silver over gold. Interesting, Charles. Okay. Yeah, so the one thing about crypto that's interesting to me is yes, I did see a couple of little blips where, like Solana and Polygon had a couple of instances where they had a little break in the blockchain, or there was some sort of an issue with transactions. But the thing is the stuff is moving down pretty rapidly without any serious crypto news, meaning there hasn't been news of crypto's going away. It's no longer going to be a thing. And that's why it's crashing. To me, it's kind of I'm just wondering if it's on the back of that interest rate news, and then there's a reaction to it in the same way that, stock market does a similar thing, and then it rebounds. I'm just wondering if, it's kind of that's projecting it, because I'm still seeing a lot of, if I'm looking at Sol or ETH or Polygon or Bitcoin in the news every day, every other day, every few days, I'm seeing some sort of building block for those platforms. I'm seeing some sort of good news, essentially, how they're partnering with this company or that company. There's a new program. They've got seed money. There's $100 million fund for this or that or whatever. I'm not seeing lots of bad news. So that's the thing that kind of confuses me a little bit. The market is down, but now we can get cards at lower price points. If you ever want a nice Tatum, now it's time to buy them. Yeah. Well, and if you watch me, I have bought some of the Tatums. I've got 4 of his Optic Holo rookie cards. One's a BGS 9.5 Gem Mint Plus, and then I've got 3 PSA 10s. And yeah, it was just kind of dollar cost averaging. I bought one at $650. I bought one at $600, and I bought another one at $450. And honestly, if they go down to $250, I'd probably add another 2. I'd probably add to it, probably add another couple. Because I'm with you. There's certain players where it's like, if you believe in the player, in the same way you believe in any sort of, player stock, any sort of investment, whatever it is, those are interesting. They're very interesting. Silver all day. Silver over gold. Silver over, a lot of silver in the chat. A lot of silver over gold. Silver will always be the bridesmaid. Oh, and the bridesmaid gets all the cash. We got some trash talk in the chat. BGS churning out fake black labels? What does that mean, John? Blaine Collins with the super chat. Thanks very much, man. I appreciate it. HGA or SGC long-term? I've been getting so many mixed predictions. I really like HGA, but so many YouTubers don't like them. How do you feel? I'm going to throw out my own personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. This could be completely false. I can't see the future. But for me personally, if it was me making this decision for myself, I would pick SGC long-term for a couple of different reasons. And again, nothing against HGA. HGA could very well be the market leader in 5 years. Who knows? I like the fact that SGC has a long track record. They go back to the 90s. They have a track record of solid grading. They're a tough grade. Some even say that they are a tougher grade than PSA, than BGS. They have a good reputation in the hobby. And frankly, it's hard to get a good reputation in this hobby. They've got longevity. HGA brings some things to the table, but as far as I just think they need to be in longer. For me to say HGA, I'd have to see more of a track record. They've done some really great things in the short time that they've been around. But for me personally, it's just not, and I'm more conservative. So for me, I would kind of be choosing the horse that has been around a little bit longer, a little bit more, I don't want to say stable because, a company can go out of business, whether they're, in business for 30 years or 1 year, it doesn't really make a difference. But, and then also it depends too, if you like kind of I like the tux. I like the SGC slab, the black and white slab. Some people don't like it. HGA has cool slabs. It really kind of depends on what you want to get out of it too. When you talk about long-term, like, if you want to buy and hold and for, appreciation of your cards, or is it from a collector standpoint? I assume what you're talking about is long-term for appreciation of cards. And so for me personally, it would have to be the company that, has just been around doing it a little bit longer. For me, it would be SGC. But again, the chat might differ. The chat might think that that's crazy, and that's okay. What I would say though is get different opinions, get different opinions on it. I've never subbed with HGA. I'm not a customer of HGA. I've never held an HGA case, so take it with a grain of salt. So, whereas I have held an SGC case, I've got quite a bit of those. So hopefully that's helpful. But again, the chat, feel free to throw your 2 cents in for Blaine. What's your number one dream card that you don't own right now? And what are your plans to eventually acquire that card? Oof, man. So there's a few different ways I could answer it. I got back into the hobby 4 years ago. So I am still, in my opinion, I don't know if I have my number one dream card yet because I'm still getting back in. I collected in the late 80s, early 90s. It was a very different market back then. The 30 years that I was out of it, a lot's happened. A lot of cards have been produced, a lot of stuff that I'm learning about now that I missed, frankly, while I was out of the hobby. So for me to say my number one dream card, it's tough because I don't think I'm there yet. The one that I want right now that I don't have, and it's not a scarce card, it's within my reach, is a high grade 86 Fleer Jordan sticker rookie card. It's not a high grade. And actually I missed out on one. I'm irritated about it because I felt like it was a good deal. I'm not in a huge rush on this card because, you've got a big PSA backlog. There's probably more of them coming back, but it was a BGS 8.5 with really good subgrades, 8.5 subgrades all the way around. And there was 1.9 for centering. It was a BGS 8.5 Jordan's 86 Fleer sticker rookie. That's a card. The reason why it would be kind of dream card is because when I was a kid, it was in the card shop. It was an expensive card back then. Jordan to me is the GOAT. So that would be a really big card for me. And I lost that auction at about $2,000. That would have been the most I've ever spent on one card. But I lost it at $2,000. But frankly, for the subgrades, comps, that was a good price for that card. What happened this week? Oh, nothing. Keep on walking by. Nothing crazy. It's kind of played out though. I feel like between, my channel, I put a video out, there's 10, 20 other, there's 50 other content creators put out something. And that's not even including Instagram, where you have a million people throwing out their 2 cents, Twitter, etc. Hey, Robin, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Warmer up in Edmonton. All right. Tough to tell, like March 2020. Yeah, man, when I look at Solana and I go back a year and Solana was $1.50 and now it's 150, it's like, woof. Yeah. March 2020, there was a lot of opportunities, not just sports cards. What, the Dow went down to what, 18, 19, 20,000? Sports cards were ripe. Everything was ripe. I feel like when we look back again, like the wealthy got wealthier in March of 2020 because there was going to be, I'm sure there's a lot of folks that, a lot of wealthy people aped into the dips and did very well. All right, Brian is going back to gold. So PSA grading, I don't know if you saw the video today, Caesar, but I caught um, a bulk subber, PC underscore sports cards, I think is on Instagram. They put out a release that they have got a $50 price point, bulk submissions, up to 200 cards per week. So they have a limit, obviously, but it's $50. So if you're able to get in with them, it's 200. They've got slots for 200 cards a week. They said they want to do it in 25 card increments, but they did say if you have, 75 cards, they will try to do 3 different orders for one person. Now, my thinking was, I think they're going to have too much demand. I think $50 is a price point where they'll have a lot of customers sending them cards I think 200 they'll fill that 200 a week very quickly. Will it get cheaper than $50? Yeah, I think that it will. I think that it will eventually. Nat Turner has talked about that. I'm actually surprised at how quickly they are moving towards opening up kind of these express, regular services. They're moving fairly quickly, although I guess we are almost to February, believe it or not. So yeah, I do think it's going to get cheaper. I just don't know when. But by summertime, would I be shocked if it's under $50? No, I wouldn't be shocked. But we'll have to see. Phoenix Suns. I was watching the end of that Mavericks Suns game last night. The Mavs gave him a run. I don't know about Luka. I love Luka. This season, there's just something about, like, it looks like he's always injured. When I'm watching Luka, it's like it's an ankle, it's a shoulder. He's grimacing. It's every time he runs down the court, there's something up, and it just worries me a little bit. He's not great when the calls don't go his way. He's got to get some thicker skin, a little bit tougher. And I know that they're banging him around. They foul him. I get it, but like that's the way that the NBA. These are grown men. And it's not like he's not used to that. When he was playing overseas, he was playing a professional league, but it's like I don't know if it's an attitude issue. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it, but he's going to have to figure it out because he's going to be a target. Guys are going to foul him. He's going to have to adjust his game. But this season, although he's putting up good stats and all that, I don't know. Like, I just hope he doesn't get a little bit too diva-y, diva-ish, if that's a word. I don't want to see that. Collectible's been following crypto quite closely for the past year and a half. Yeah, it's a fair argument. I don't know. That's a general statement, but fair enough. Corey, what's going on? Good to see you. BTC follows the NASDAQ. Interesting. And chill for 7 years. That's actually kind of funny, but that's not a bad, take. Not a bad take. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where they need us, we need them, there's a lot of discussion about manufacturing in other places outside of China to where we're not as reliant on that. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think we should mix it up a little bit. I don't think we need to be reliant on that particular country, but that's just me. A little bit of gold. Got to have a little bit of gold. Yeah. Yep. We'll see. It's just the value of the dollar is sinking. But you know what? I think the one thing that kind of saves us is the rest of the world is doing exactly the same thing. The British pound is no different. The British pound, if you look back to the value of the British pound, the like actual value of it going back to like 1930 to now, it's done exactly the same thing. Global currencies in general, the euro. Yeah, I mean, I would be more concerned if it was just us, but it's not. It's something that's happening globally. And so maybe that's why this is kind of happening, because they're like, well, we might be going down with the, down, but everybody else is going down worse. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, I know. I've got them all around me. I know. I was looking at some stuff. I shared some things earlier in the stream. I've been buying some some football stuff I'm excited about. Shortage of silver currently. Interesting. Tech sell-off caused the recent crypto dip. Everybody's selling off their crypto to buy Saints apparel, New Orleans Saints jerseys and hats and all that stuff. That's where it's all going. That's where all the money's going. Oh, drink time. Dominic, buy the dip if you can afford it for all crypto cards, art. Yeah. Well, I think the problem is everybody's kind of like holding their breath as to like, okay, is this going to be a massive dip or is it kind of like, because honestly, if you look at crypto over the last 48 hours, it's pretty rough. I mean, from a percentage standpoint, if you're talking about like in 2 days, we're talking like a 20-25% drop for some of these popular coins, tokens. That's pretty dramatic. But it's weird though, because I think with a lot of, it's like we're like, yeah, but what if it goes down more? Like we don't know, and we've, of course you do the same thing in sports cards and everything else. Yep, he did, unfortunately. Tatum is interesting. Yeah, he's interesting. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, if we get into the playoffs and either the Celtics don't make it or they get bounced in the first round, then it's like, well, maybe there's just attention off of them. Could be some options there. Folks are excusing Marks. Who's excusing him though? Who is? I haven't seen that. Dave Ramsey sports card envelope. Yeah, I don't really. I've never followed the Dan. I mean, a lot of Dave Ramsey's advice is kind of common sense. I mean, I think there's a lot of good stuff there. I think for people, to me, he's kind of like if you have no idea where to start, the Dave Ramsey plan can be a good place to start. But I think that's he's got thoughts on certain things. I agree with some of his stuff. I don't agree with all of his stuff. But he's someone that's helping in a sense that he's giving advice to people that, everybody needs some sort of advice on how to manage their finances. So he's doing that. But, just like with a lot of folks like that, I mean, a lot of it's just kind of common sense. It's more about the execution of it than the actual advice. It's like, can you execute it though? That's really what it boils down to. Oh, a suite for the Pro Bowl in Vegas. Nice. I want to get out to Vegas and go to the Raiders Stadium, the Death Star. I want to get out there for that. We had a plan to do that the last season before the pandemic, but we'll see. I do want to get out to Vegas for that. That would be fun. I've got some friends out there. Charles, I want to meet you. I've got Chris, Vegas Fine 777. I want to see him. Got some buddies out there I want to hang out with and see some of the sites. 90s refractors. So I do for football cards. And it depends on what you mean by what, Robin, give me some details on refractors that you're talking about. I mean, I showed, so like, oh, I guess it's not the 90s version. I've got the 2012 retro stuff. I was just showing like, for example, I showed this earlier, like 2012 retro, the Playmakers Theater. These are numbered out of 100. This is Joe Namath. And then the 2012 retro football has also got PMGs, college unis for football, which kind of stinks, but it is a really, really cool card, numbered out of 50. Pretty cool. Oh, 90s, not a refractor, but I showed this one earlier. 99 absolute. These are rare. This is Hog. What is it? Boss Hogs. That's right. Boss Hogs. It's a leather football signed by Barry Sanders, but there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of different options here, but these are like 1 out of 360 packs or something. These are not easy to pull. Not easy to pull. So that's the type of stuff that I've been looking at, is kind of inserts. Auto stuff is cool because auto stuff in the 90s was not typical, even early 2000s. So that's kind of the stuff I've been looking at. Are you talking about the Jordan rookie sticker in 2000 and 8.5 for $120? I am very, very jealous of you, John. Very jealous. Yeah, I've heard about graded coins. Yep, I've heard about it. I've heard about it. You have to be careful in that market too, though. It's similar to sports cards where you can get caught up. It just depends. I mean, pros and cons. You got to know what you're doing. A lot of research. Thank you, Q's cards and slabs. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. You have a Namath auto. Oh yeah, the flawless. Yeah, he sold me the flawless. Well, the thing that's about that one is I saw the card at the Raleigh Card Show. I passed on it, and then we were separated, me and Steve just happened to see the same card and he bought it. He was like, "Oh man, that's awesome." And then ever since I've been like, "Steve, I need to get that from you." And so we just agreed on it today. And so he's selling it to me basically for like $20 more than what he paid for it. So I'm paying a little bit of a premium, but I love it. It's a good stuff. The only knock on that flawless patch is that it's player worn. It's not a game used Namath patch, but still on card auto flawless. Very, very cool card. So I will take it and appreciate the nice words, Q's card and slabs. All right, Phoenix Rising, take it easy. Good night. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that too. It's like Zion, Luca, it's like all the huge, like young stars. It's like, what's going on? Now, Luca's still performing, but there's just something a little bit off. I don't know. There's something a little bit weird about NBA. I'm excited for the Suns, though. I think it's cool. I like to see the Suns, get through and win. They got all the way to the finals. It's cool seeing Giannis win. I just want to see, I don't want to see the Lakers. I don't want to see LeBron win another title. No, I'm a Jordan guy. Like, I don't care if LeBron gets another title. I want to see some of these other guys. I want to see Utah, like Donovan Mitchell and Utah win it or something, the Suns win it, one of those teams. I'm not as much into these, Ryan. I mean, there's particular players like I had and sold a Wayne Gretzky rookie card in an SGC 6.5. This was a couple of years ago. I do want to get another Topps Gretzky rookie again in the future. There's some like if we're looking at soccer, I would like to get maybe some nice like Ronaldo. I'm not as much into Messi, but like some cool Ronaldo stuff eventually. I think would be fun. For golf, I've got like a 79. Where's that one card? I've got a Jack Nicklaus PSA 10 from like a 79 set, kind of an oddball set, but no, I don't collect a lot of that stuff. I don't think I'd ever invest in gold due to the fear of the Fed confiscating like they did in 1933. I highly doubt they would ever need my sports cards in a time of crisis. That's a good point. Sports cards kind of flying under the radar, although they're probably going to become looking for like the National Treasures boxes. All of you guys out there with the sealed wax, assuming there's not G.I. Joe cards in there, all the guys with the sealed wax, the Fed's going to be coming to get that stuff when they need money to pay back our debts. That would be, man, that would be a sad day. All, like the sealed wax collectors are having to get rid of their sealed wax. Thicker than a Snicker. Thick. Yep. Thick. The one world. Yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see that. There's too much red tape for that. There's too many, like nobody would agree on it, I don't think. Like a one world currency. Even with Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff, I don't really look at those as being currency replacements. I think they're going to have other utility, though. I just think they're going to have other utility that doesn't involve that necessarily. I think Bitcoin can be a hedge and it can be a store of value for sure. But I think that Bitcoin, and maybe not Bitcoin as much, but especially when we look at like whether you like NFTs or don't like NFTs, I do believe there's going to be some sort of a future with NFTs kind of in the background. One of my friends, Chris Vegas Find 777, he had tweeted about this, and I agree with him, where NFTs kind of operate in the background of our daily life, where it's not necessarily out in front of us all the time. We're not like having to buy an NFT to go do something. It's more of the background of the infrastructure. Eventually, we're talking like years and years down the road. So the crypto that I like is stuff where it's like platforms that are building on that, that are partnering with big companies to make all those things happen. I dug out today my Kellogg's Olympic cards from 1980 Lake Placid. It was great to be young and gorge on corn pops. Now my gut is a corn pop. Got it. Got it. Got it. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, what was it? The 70s? They moved off of the gold standard and all went downhill. Look out. Watch my video tomorrow, Chris. It's going to drop at 7:15. It'll give you kind of an insight into where I'm at with it. It might surprise you a little bit. I know that, and what I was saying is that for my channel, I'm not going to sit here and turn a blind eye to bad news and scams. I feel like I am responsible to my viewership to talk about all the things. So if there's good news, I talk about that, and I'm optimistic. But if there's bad news, I need to talk about that too. I can't just sit around and pretend like everything is great when maybe it's not so great all the time, and that's okay. But yeah, so my video tomorrow morning will give you a little bit of a hint at that. But so yeah, I'm sort of halfway answering it. Brady jerseys. Yes, Brady jerseys. Yeah. No, I think that Dave Ramsey has some good nuggets. And there's some things that, again, like it's just like with anybody, it's I take it with a grain of salt. There's some things I would do that he says, there's other things that I wouldn't do. But it doesn't really matter because the thing that he's trying to offer kind of a baseline, a foundation, and for people to be self-disciplined. And that's really kind of the key is self-discipline, regardless of what your strategy is with all the stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the hobby is also not just about the money part. Although, look, if it's you spent the $60 because you needed to make at least $60 back, or you wanted to make, $100, 120, and that was the only reason why you opened the box, then yeah, that's going to sting. But if it's something that you're just real, a product that you always buy every year and you're really excited about collecting that particular product, then maybe that's nothing for you. It's all relative. Yeah, I don't really for me, Joseph, I'm just going to wait for the rest of the news to come. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more to this story. Obviously, there has to be. This is just kind of the initial beginning of the story. But before I kind of, I think I don't want to jump to judgment when I don't have all the facts. I don't have half the story. I probably have 10% of it. I've got kind of a baseline of I think what's going on, but it's really all kind of speculation. So it might be fun to speculate on a little bit, but it's just like I'll just wait until I get a little bit more information. And that's what kind of my video and reaction to it was talking about is that yes, we can talk about kind of the high level things, but we're just speculating on all the rest of it. It'll have to come out on its own. I know I haven't heard anything about Zion. I don't know where he is. I don't know, Wes. I mean, honestly, like everyone's got their own individual situation, and I don't know. I haven't had someone say to me like, "Oh, I'm trying to avoid, paying these taxes." No one's told me that. So, I'm going to have to assume that people are working, they're trying to operate on the up and up. Maybe some of them aren't, and individually, everyone's got to figure that out for themselves. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go against the Chiefs. The Chiefs. Correct me. This is going to be in Kansas City. I think the one thing is, I think if it's going to be an Arrowhead, then it's I'm all Chiefs. If this was in Buffalo, I think that not that I think the Bills would wallop the Chiefs, but I just think that they would have just a much better shot if they were at home. But let me know that is that an Arrowhead or is that in Buffalo? I haven't seen that yet. I want to see that. I heard about that. I want to see it. Mikey Big Balls. What a name. Marvel cards. I love Marvel cards. I have a complete set of 1990 Impel Marvel from when I was a kid. I bought that. Look, the complete set wasn't when I was a kid. I bought it like a year ago because there was talk about all the Marvel card stuff about a year ago. And I was like, oh man, I want to get a set of it. It was like $100, to get a complete set. And it's in a binder. I really like those cards. Flipping Steve and then Neo, those are two of kind of my content creator friends, just friends in general. They are big into kind of those Marvel PMGs, the jambalayas, all that stuff. And that stuff is taken off. I think that maybe there is some sort of thought of safety in those because it's not, it's Spider-Man, it's Hulk, it's legendary superheroes that are not, it's like the whole Charizard can't tear an ACL thing. I personally am not buying into that stuff, but not because I don't like it, but more of I feel like it's really overheated right now. I mean, it's red hot. So for me to jump into it now, it's kind of not the right time personally. But Marvel cards in general, I like it. I like there's nostalgia with it, depending on which sets you're looking at. And people like the movies. It's fun to follow it. It's fun to kind of figure out which characters are going to be in the next movie, which villains, and then the cards that are associated with that. So I get it. I like it. It's just for me, I haven't gotten into it. I've got just too many other things right now. I hear you, man. No, that's a good point, CB. And you're right. If I had, a boatload of LeBron stuff, well, look, I don't like Tom Brady. He's in the same division as my New Orleans Saints, but I have a lot of Tom Brady cards. So I hear you. So on the one hand, I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing, Aaron Rodgers or whoever, the Rams knock, although I don't like the Rams either. But anyway, Tom Brady getting knocked out on the one hand. At the same time, I'm like, well, if he wins if he's got 8 Super Bowls and maybe, the cards, maybe that affects the cards in a good way. So I've kind of hedged a little bit, but you're right. I mean, if I had a boatload of LeBron stuff, I wouldn't be sad if he went on to win another title. Absolutely. Good point. Patrick, thank you for the super chat. Happy Friday. I really appreciate you, man. You're always here. So I appreciate you coming. You always have some positive takes. And I appreciate you. So thank you very much for that. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is just, with your taxes, get an accountant or, get to where you're working with somebody that can help you with it. But track expenses. That's the other thing is that, if you're buying, selling cards, track expenses so that you're able to kind of work that into the equation and CPA or, accounting firm, they can help you with all that stuff to where, you're able to, to write against some of that stuff. I wouldn't be sad about this. Aaron Rodgers to the Saints. I wouldn't be sad for him to finish with Sean Payton. I mean, look, if we had to give up, a few first rounders to get him, yes, he's kind of on the back end of his career, obviously, but he still got it though. And man, we're good. We have a good team. We have a great defense. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty exciting to see Rodgers on the Saints. I'm not the biggest Rodgers fan. I think he's kind of a diva. It's funny how he's turned into Brett Favre. Brett Favre, it was all this, oh, Brett Favre just can't let it go and he can't face the facts that it's time to retire and Aaron Rodgers is taking over. And now Aaron Rodgers is that guy, even though he doesn't have an Aaron Rodgers. Favre had Aaron Rodgers. There's not another guy behind him. Jordan Love is not what Aaron Rodgers was to Favre. And still, I don't know. I would still like to see Rodgers in a Saints uniform. Don't get me wrong. Thank you, Dunk Cards. Likes. I need the likes, friends. And I'll wrap up. I know there's a lot of live streams tonight, guys. It's been a long week, so I'm right at about the hour mark. So I'll go for another few minutes. I'll just check and see if there's any other, questions or anything. But then head on over to Sports Card Anonymous channel. He's got his live stream. And then Carlos, because I'm Carlos, he's also got his, I believe his is at 9 p.m. Eastern. He'll be on for his Friday Night Live stream. Friday Night Live, Sports Card, talk stuff. Yeah, LA, if you're talking about the Rams, man, they looked real good against the Cardinals. I'm kind of wondering if, they're really kind of showing out in the playoffs. That'll be interesting. I mean, McVay he's a good coach, I mean, and he's got a pretty good team. The Rams are going to be a lot to handle. They're going to be a lot. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs in Arrowhead, I just don't see it happening, especially because Allen hasn't shown that he can do it yet. He hasn't won this type of a game yet. At least I don't remember. He hasn't gotten over the hump. It would be huge for him, for Josh Allen, to be able to get over the hump. This is a massive game for Josh Allen, but he'll be back. I mean, Josh Allen is he's a good player. So I think that he's going to certainly be back. But man, what a monster game! Yeah, huge game. The 49ers have nothing to lose, coming in. I mean, not that I'm picking them to beat the Packers, but they're just kind of playing with a chip on their shoulder, probably. They don't have, I mean, no one's expecting them to win. Yeah, SGC. Yeah, I like SGC. Oh, ice storm on the beach. Be careful. Be careful out there. Absolutely. Yeah, Cooper Kupp. The Rams are going to be a lot. The one question mark for the Rams, I think, is Stafford in the playoffs. He played, good game this past week, but for the years and years he was with the Lions, and granted, never had the same kind of team, but he did have Megatron. But still, Stafford has never done anything in the playoffs, so that's going to be a big thing. Can he get over the hump himself? He's got talent, but what happens in crunch time? When they need him to go win the game. We don't know that yet. That would be an interesting finals. Yeah, the Warriors and the Bucks. That would be an interesting finals. Kind of hoping that the Bulls are such a young team, and I think Levine is hurt, but man, the Bulls are an exciting young team. Yeah, I get angry. Of course. Yeah, I'm a human being. But I actually, though, I do try to. I read a lot about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, just kind of staying calm. I've read also, what's a good book on this? Never settle for the difference. Chris Vay. I might be missing. I'm probably messing this up. Never split the difference. And this book is written by an ex-hostage negotiator. And basically the story of the book is, a lot of it is keeping calm throughout crazy situations. And so, I don't know. I mean, my dad was in the military. My mom's British. So, I was kind of always taught to, keep a cool head, stay even. So yeah, do I get angry? Yeah, of course. Sometimes I get real angry, but for the most part, I try to keep control. I try to. Big Guy Sports Collector, good to see you. The Bengals. I know I've got a few buddies that are Bengals fans. I'm happy for them. Very, very happy for them. Hobby Champs, good to see you. Follow Hobby Champs on Twitter. He's always got some good nuggets on Twitter. Hobby Champs. Yeah, Brad makes me angry. Actually, more just frustrated why he's not smarter. I kid. Yeah, I turn into a giant green monster. So yeah, I don't get angry very much, but when I do, it's just it's pretty brutal. Oh yeah, I should do that. She's good. She's good. Oh, answer my question, Dustin. Where are you, Ernie? Where's your question? This question? Are hockey wax cards worth a lot of money? Is it wax packs, or I guess I don't really understand that question. Are hockey wax cards worth a lot of money? And to be honest, I am no hockey card expert, so I'm probably not the right person to answer this anyway. If the chat knows anything about hockey wax cards, just hockey cards in general, this is such a general statement too. You're going to have to definitely be more specific. All right, guys, I am going to wrap it. I'm tired. I hope that you have an awesome weekend ahead. We got some good football stuff. I'll have a video out tomorrow at about 7:15. I hope that I hope you like it. Definitely check it out and just let me know what you think in the comments, because I do ask for feedback like I always do, but it's specific. So I want to hear what you have to say. Unsorted hockey cards in a storage bin. Man, that is too vague. I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you talking about 79 Topps O-Pee-Chee or 79 O-Pee-Chee hockey Wayne Gretzky rookie cards? Or are you talking about like ultra modern? What I would do is maybe take it to a local card shop. They might not. Okay, Joseph Delmore just answered you there. All wax cards are from the masses produced era, so no, not worth a ton. Yeah, or just go to a local card shop and just say like, and look, I mean, hopefully they're reputable and it's they're not taking you for a ride, but they can give you a second opinion. All right, guys, talk to you later. I will see you. Stay healthy, stay awesome. All right, see you later.